Hey y'all, it's Erin with Twirling down Main Street. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Go ahead and subscribe. And if you're not new, then welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about what it's like at Disney World right now. We're about 7 months after they've opened since they closed for the pandemic. And I just wanted to kind of show you guys what it's like at Disney World, what things are different, and just what to expect if you're planning on going. First of all, in order to get into a Disney park, you have to have a park ticket, and then you have to have a reservation for that park, and everybody in your party has to have a reservation for that park for that day. You can do this through the Disney app or on the Disney website. Usually when you're buying your tickets, it will ask you if you want to make a reservation after that, and you can just continue on and make a reservation. You don't have to make a reservation as soon as you buy your tickets. I would recommend that you make a reservation fairly early on because sometimes they'll fill up and you won't be able to get into the park that you want to. So the parks are operating on a limited capacity. They say that that's 35%, which some people think that this means that they aren't very full. That's 35% of their full capacity, which I've been in the park. I've been in Magic Kingdom on New Year's Eve at full capacity, and it took us 2 hours to walk 50 feet. It's just wall-to-wall people. You are shoulder to shoulder, just right next to everybody. So it's 35% of that, which could be just like a normal park day pre-COVID if it wasn't very crowded at the park that day. So don't expect that it's just going to be empty when you go, because it might not be. Also, you have to wear a mask at Disney World and on Disney property, even if you're outside, even if you're going for a run at Disney World. You have to wear a mask if you're at the resort. The only place that you wouldn't have to would be at the resort pools. There are a couple exceptions if you are stationary, eating or drinking, if you're in a restaurant sitting at your table, or if you are at one of the relaxation stations. So you cannot carry a drink and walk around and take sips of the drink. You have to keep your mask on, and if you have a drink, you would just step to the side out of the main walkway, take your mask off, take a drink, or finish it, and put your mask back on, and then keep going. People were kind of abusing this and walking around with drinks and stuff at Disney Springs, so they changed that rule to where you have to be stationary and out of the way eating or drinking. Do you see this wet spot on my shirt? It's from my cat licking me. She's weird. She just constantly licks. Anyway, Disney is a lot more strict than Universal is about what types of masks are allowed. So at Disney, you cannot wear gaiters, which are like the buffs kind of things that come up and cover your whole neck. They're like a scarf kind of thing that comes up. You can't wear those. You can't wear a mask that has valves in it. And your mask has to be 2 layers of fabric. It also has to have ear straps. I have seen people in line to get their temperature taken at Disney Springs with gaiters on, and they have been redirected to the vending machines with paper masks that are like $2, which is really expensive for a paper mask. So if you even think your mask might not pass Disney standards, but you want to try it, bring a backup mask so you don't have to pay for those really expensive vending machine masks. I also would suggest bringing more than one mask for you throughout the day, so if you get really sweaty because it's Florida and it's hot, you can change your mask, or if you ride a water ride like Splash Mountain and you get soaked, you can change your mask out so you don't have to have a wet or a sweaty mask. Okay, now on to more fun things. Disney is not doing parades right now, and they're not doing character meet and greets, but they do sometimes have characters either like up at the Main Street train station or in Epcot. I've seen Joy wandering around in the grass, and you can still interact with the characters, it's just from a distance. Since they're not doing parades, they're doing Calvacades, which honestly, they're about the same as a parade, but it's usually just like one float, but they happen all throughout the day. There's no times for these because they don't want people congregating, but there will be a few characters with it and dancers. And a way to know that these are coming at most of the parks is the music will change. So there's regular background music, but if that just abruptly changes to something drastically different, and usually it's a little louder, that's when you know that there's about to be a cavalcade coming. So that's like the #1 way that I know that there's one coming and I can get in a good spot before everybody else realizes that there's one happening, and you're already in a good spot ready to watch the cavalcade come by. At Animal Kingdom, they are all on boats. So that's really fun. You'll usually hear the music from the boats, and there's lots of places in Animal Kingdom that you can see the boats go by with the characters. On to rides. Most of the rides at Disney World are open. I can't really think of any off the top of my head that are closed. Shows are closed right now just because it's harder to socially distant and do shows, but they are opening up a few shows in the summer. Festival of the Lion King I know is returning for the summer, and I'm really excited about that, so we have that to look forward to. But the rides are open. In line, they have spacing 6 feet apart, so you will stand with your family or your group on that spot that says stand here, and then you move up when the next group goes. It makes the line just a whole lot more enjoyable because you're not just back to back with people that you don't know. I really like the 6 feet spacing in line. I think it needs to stay. I will say, if you have people behind you that aren't following that 6 foot rule and aren't staying on their spot, just turn around and ask them. Usually sometimes people forget or they just get excited and don't remember, and most everybody that I've asked has been really nice about it. And if they're not nice about it, then you can always grab a cast member and they will take care of the situation. There is no fast pass right now, so if you see people going through that line, they're either Club 33, which is a very expensive exclusive Disney club that there's a wait list that's like 20 years long to get in, I think. They are disability access line, so they got a return time to come back, or they are doing child swap. So somebody else already waited in line and the other people waited with the kid, and then when the people that waited with the kid go and they swap out, then they get to go through that fast pass line, so they're not waiting through the line twice. So if you see people going through that line, don't freak out, you didn't miss anything. There's no fast passes right now. There are hand sanitizer stations at the beginning of the lines and sometimes throughout the lines. There are stations when you exit off the rides. There's stations all throughout the park. There are even water stations where you pump the water with your foot and wash your hands there, but I think it's easier to just go to a restroom and wash your hands because usually the restrooms aren't too crowded. At Disney, however, it is not mandatory to use hand sanitizer before you get on a ride. At Universal, it is mandatory. They will put the hand sanitizer in your hand before you get on a ride. At Disney, it is not. It's entirely up to you whether you want to use the hand sanitizer before you get on a ride or when you get off the ride. Some rides have plexiglass on them so they can see every row. So Kilimanjaro Safaris has, it's not plexiglass, but it's like the Jeep windows that are transparent plastic. And then Frozen Ever After has plexiglass. Rise of the Resistance has plexiglass. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway has plexiglass. It doesn't really detract from the experience. It does a little bit in some of the dark rides because you get a bit of a glare, so it's better if you're seated in the front part of the vehicle, but it's not going to make or break the ride if you have plexiglass in front of you. The rides that do not have plexiglass will space out. A lot of the rides are seating every other row with gaps in between parties, and they're just making sure that you're not seated right in front of or behind another party that's not in your group. Your group will be the only group in your row, so if you're by yourself, you'll be the only person seated in your row on all the rides, but you might not be the only people in your ride vehicle. Like on It's a Small World, there might be people at the front of the boat and at the back of the boat, but they will space those parties out. Also, on rides, the time that's posted is usually more than the time that you will wait in line. So just know that those wait times are kind of inflated because, one, I think they've always inflated them, and two, they just can't really tell accurately with all the 6 feet social distancing. They don't really have a way to tell how long the line's going to be. So we rode Frozen the other day and the line was all the way back to the China Pavilion, but we were only in line about 25 minutes. So it really wasn't that bad, even though it looks really intimidating to see this long line, but that's just because they're spacing the lines out. For dining, used to be restaurant reservations were open 180 days out. Now they're open 60 days out, which sometimes makes it kind of harder to plan because you don't know that far out where you're going to be able to get reservations for. Sometimes it's nice though if you kind of want to go last minute and you won't be as far behind if you don't have those dining reservations. A lot of the restaurants are open. Some are still closed for various reasons, but you can look in the Disney World app to see which ones are available and use the app to make your reservations like before. They are also spacing out seating, so you won't be at a table right next to somebody else. They are spacing those and allowing space in between the tables, which I really like. For quick service locations, or counter service, however you call it, the ones that are not sit down restaurants, they like you order and you go to a counter, get your food, and you go sit at a table. Mobile ordering is the way to go. Most places are only doing mobile ordering, in fact, unless you have a food allergy or are paying with cash. So to mobile order, you're going to open your Disney World app, which if you don't have it, I'll link the link for the app down below. You need this app anyway. It shows you wait times. It's how you can make dining reservations, and you can make park reservations from the app, link your magic bands. Used to be you could make fast passes when those were a thing, but now it's also how you can order food. So you're going to click the plus at the bottom of the app and then choose order food. This will show you all of the available restaurants that you can order food from and what time you'll be able to pick it up. So I'm going to choose Deluxe Burger. This is in Disney Springs. I've eaten there. It was pretty good. And this has all of your options. So they have entrees, they show plant-based, sides, Disney check meals, kids meals, artisanal shakes. Ooh, I need to try some of those. Those look really good. Beverages, artisanal shakes with alcohol. That looks even better. Oh man, it's got bacon too. All right, look for a video from Deluxe Burger soon because that looks good. Alcoholic beverages and allergy friendly, which I really like because I have to eat gluten-free, so it's nice to be able to order allergy options from the app. So it shows you, so say I want to get the barbecue burger. I got this before, it was really good. I'll choose a quantity, 1. I can customize it, so I can choose what I want on there and what I don't want on there, add it to my order, and then when I'm ready to go check out, I can review my order summary, and then I can check out. If you want, you can save a credit card to the Disney app and it'll automatically charge your credit card if you choose it, or you can even go in and add a Disney gift card. You'll just have to go in and add that gift card every time. I would suggest on mobile ordering though, on popular places like Woody's Lunchbox, look earlier in the morning if you can for lunch times, because when we looked at noon for lunch times, the next available time was like 3 p.m. So if you know you want to eat there, go ahead and place your order that morning and choose a time for whenever you want to eat lunch. And then you go over there and you click make my order, and then they'll say we're preparing your order, and then you can show your code to the people that are standing outside the seating area and they'll let you in to go get your food and go have a seat. There is park hopping now that started as of January 1st. So if you have a park hopper ticket or an annual pass, then you can park hop. How that works is you have to have a reservation for the first park you're going to. So you'll go to that park, and then after 2 p.m. you can hop to another park as long as it's not at capacity. If it's at capacity, you'll have to choose a different park to hop to, but you can hop to as many parks as you want after 2 p.m. So you could do all 4 parks in one day if you do the last 3 after 2 p.m. You can always go back to that first park though, like you are counted in the capacity limits of that park. So even if it says it's at capacity, if that was your first park that you had a reservation for, you can always go back to it still. They still don't have the monorail running between Epcot and Magic Kingdom though, so you will have to take a bus if you're going between Epcot and Magic Kingdom. They have the Skyliner running though, and boats running, and buses running as well. Right now there are no fireworks or night shows going on. Those just draw too big of a crowd for them to be able to do that safely. But they have been testing and putting equipment out for Harmonious, which is the new Epcot show. And they've been doing some fireworks testing, I think, for Magic Kingdom's 50th. So fireworks will come back. They're just not a safe option right now at the moment. So is it worth it to go to Disney World right now? I think it is. First, okay, one disclaimer, Epcot is a mess right now, but it would be a mess whether it was during COVID times or not, because half of the park is under construction. World Showcase is great, and if you're going for a festival or something, it's fantastic. It's awesome. I love Epcot. I love their festivals. I love their food. But the whole middle of the park is just a bunch of construction walls. So just know that when you're going, that kind of half the park is in construction. None of the rides are down. All of the rides are working and are operating, but that whole center part of the park is just a mess right now. I do think it's worth it to go right now though. The crowds aren't gonna be more than 35%, so it still might be like a normal day, but it won't be a super crowded normal day. If it's hot, the masks are a little annoying. They're not that great if it's summer. I wouldn't recommend going in summer, but in the spring and fall, they weren't terrible. And it's nice to get away sometimes. Disney, I have felt very safe there, and I've been being very careful in my personal life with taking precautions with COVID. I have felt very safe going to Disney World. If you've never been to Epcot before though, I really don't recommend going now. Wait till they're done with all the construction. But all the other parks are fantastic. All of the Star Wars stuff is really cool. The Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is almost brand new. It just opened less than a year ago. Rise of the Resistance is awesome if you can get a boarding group. I'll do a separate video about that another day. But yeah, I think it's worth it to go to Disney World right now, especially if you've been before. It's not going to be the same. Don't be going expecting it to be exactly the same as it was before COVID, but just go with an open mind about how things are going to be, and you'll still find magic if you're willing to be flexible and just be patient with everybody and be considerate of everyone around you, and especially the cast members, and you'll still have a fantastic time. Thank y'all so much for watching. Wear your mask, wash your hands, be safe, and we'll see you later.